Welcome to episode Redux. Joe's Ranky, aka Cheat Door. We're part of this tier list for Project L's special episode, I guess, whatever. I say add these in here. Just as a little preview, because Project L released some news before it's going to be coming out. Well, not coming out. Do not quote me on that. So, the whole thing is there's a demo that's coming out for Evo on August 4th, and they're going to have things for August 4th to 5th with probably some special announcement. Hopefully, they're going to reveal a new champion that we have, or a new fighter that we haven't seen yet, or has not been revealed in any shape or form. And it might be somebody interesting. Who knows? And maybe who knows? Like, I really hope they show a lot of characters that they've been working on. That people hey, here's what we've been doing. Because the last the thing was from November of last year. So I hope they've done it just we've made 2 characters since then. Cool. So I hope they showcase a little bit. I know they're not going to give us a tentative release date. Maybe maybe a closed beta. I don't know. If they do a closed beta, please. I know I'm a small channel, but I need this. My dog just started barking. I don't know that barking. He started doing a little. I was like, nope, not today. But yeah, I just hear as I pet him. But yeah, so it's a whole thing of that. So in the interim, as I wait and speculate and do what I should not supposed to, because you're not supposed to assess about a game it's not coming out this year, or maybe not even until late of next year, or the next year of that. Hopefully not. I'm going to do a tier list because I didn't do a whole I'm rambling a little bit because I talked about this last episode. So watch that. I'm going to do a tier list of champions I think could be in the game, couldn't be in the game, all that stuff. Project L. There might be fortune slots. There might be more. Who knows? But I'm going to continue now. So let's continue. Yeah. So we have... this is Ezreal right now. Oof. My God. Ezreal is a fun character because it's weird. In the league, he just seems like a forever child, a forever kid of recklessness. And he goes in there, he's trying to discover things and be a treasure hunter of some sort. And even his skins are have different aspects to him, but he's always reckless. He's always recluse. Whatever. It was funny that he was Star Guardian and he didn't have to wear a skirt, which is good. But he's always been like that. And the whole weird thing is Ezreal kind of on the surface he seems kind of he's bumbling through things and might not be the go-to person for stuff, because again he almost, you know what he seems like? He seems like, if anyone's ever seen Bill and Ted and how Billy the Kid acts, that's what he seems like. He has more bravado than what he actually has as a person. But anyway, aside from that, it doesn't have nothing to do with him being a Project L user or not. I say most likely not Ezreal, just because Ezreal is so hell-bent of being a marks person. He's a marksman. Man, in quotation. He's a boy. But he that's what he's he shoots from his gauntlet. I don't see him ever actually getting really close or doing that. And unless you want a real ranged character to be in a fighting game, which I don't want, I can't really see him. I'm not gonna put him in anti-tier because he's still a cool character and could possibly be in the game. And it's not a horribly oh, I hate this character, I don't want him in the game. But I can't. It's weird to see and then especially his ult is just this beam that goes through everything, unless it's it's gonna go through the person and the person that is waiting, even though they're not in that space. I can't. Those long range attacks are kind of weird because of how they would have to work in a fighting game. But I'm gonna put him most likely not. Fiddlesticks is interesting. Fiddlesticks is supposed to be, because I actually gave him lore. Fiddlesticks is supposed to, the Scarecrow you see is not Fiddlesticks. The Fiddlesticks is whatever the heck is hiding or being held inside his chest, in that bird cage of a chest, which is probably why he doesn't have crows anymore, because now he has that thing in his crawl space in a way. But Fiddlesticks is supposed to be this entity of that nature. Like, he might be the 10 demons or the 10 evil entities, or it might just be one of 10, as he likes to say. Fiddles. Oh wait, I can't do the voice, but that's what he does, or what he is, I guess. But Fiddlesticks Fiddlesticks is a plausible character. We did have characters like in Injustice. You had Scarecrow, and kind of the same thing of Fear would be his aspect, and can use the scythe as an actual weapon instead of using it just as like a rake tool for long range attacks and whatever. And he can throw stuff at B range. He can be melee with extension. And who knows, they could possibly put up his crows if they wanted to add that to his kit from his original kit that he used to have crows. It won't cancel or silence or anything like that. But just him being able to throw a crow at somebody would be fun. Or like sprout it out of his body or his mouth. It would be fun. I can imagine his like end screens would just be terrifying. I don't want to see them. You're like, oh. And I'm being sarcastic with don't want to say. I would definitely love to see it. But I can see Phil Six in there. Like, is he like a most deaf? Probably not. I can see him in there though, and that's why he's plausible. Fiora is a most deaf character. They can put a lot. They can put her old kit in there. What her specials could do. They have to retool her a little bit, but not to the point where she's only plausible. But yeah, they can easily put her in the game, and she's a duelist. Like, that's her thing. So her being in a game where she could duel would be fun. Like, and also again, she has a lot of things of movement. Her her parry would be fun too, because that would be in her kit, and then there is parries in Project L for right now. So that would be an interesting way of doing that. And again, she's a fighter. Like, I can see her do that to just be a swordswoman, and have that caliber or characteristic to her. She's fun. I would love to see her in the game as a Demacian thing. She probably won't be the first 14 or any. If there's the first, I don't know why I'm trying to make that into a thing, but yeah, she probably won't be a starter roster. Maybe, who knows? But I can see her in there. Hell, I can see her probably being revealed as one of the champions just because she's in there. Now we have Fizz, which again I believe is a Yordle again, and not just a fish person. Or supposed to be something of like, I guess it's like an ancient Yordle. Fizz is actually one of the only ones I could see as plausible, as very plausible. Not a must-have, not a most-def. I can really see Fizz in there because of the way he's a trickster and he can bounce and he does all these things. And I can see him being a hard character to play because things can go wrong. Being that you're a small character, you probably should have less defense, of course. But I can also see like you have the hitbox thing that you're already short character, and then it's going to be very annoying because you have ways to balance against lows because it's in your kit. You have that whole thing. You have the dog that will come out, which that's going to be annoying too. Well, it's not a dog. Sorry, only one skin. It's a dog. It's a shark. Oh my god. But I can see that. I can see Fizz plausibly being, and he has a spear. He has a weapon, so and some good movement, so I can see it. Ooh, Galio. I again will put. There's gonna be a lot of champions in plausible. Not most have, but I can see Galio being in the game. He would need retooling, especially as Alt, because no one's waiting for you to channel into the space where they're at, and nobody can hold that long. That is a thing I did see in Project L and some of the gameplay that kind of was scary to see, that there might not be grabs, or like grabs are not very potent. So who knows? But again, this is a work in progress. I can't really speculate too hard on it. But I can see Galio being in because his tech can work and his abilities can be molded in a way. They would have to give him a whole new different alt that's not his original alt or this one. It would be very weird, but I can see it happening. Well, actually, no. Maybe his other alt could be there, where he would just like focus in, and you will like get closer, and you might be able to fight it until he breaks. Who knows? Oh, sorry, my brain. I am drinking Monster, only Monster. But Gangplank. Ooh, you know what? This is actually for a longest time I thought Gangplank was just going to be plausible, especially because his alt's weird and he just like shoots cannons out of nowhere. I can see that in the game now because Gangplank, unlike a lot of Bilgewater people who are just like, oh well, there's some that are again fighters, but a lot of them are because you have misfortune. You just show bang bang bang. Gangplank has a sword. He actually has a cutlass that he uses in the gameplay. He's a melee. He doesn't only use his one pistol. He uses his cutlass, and I don't think he's gonna have the orange thing where he heals or whatever. But he might have that for like a quick speed boost and like come in there and be fast. I can see that happening, like a movement speed item that he could just do that as like a special that he eats oranges. He might not heal for it because that'll be kind of broken. But I can see that as a special. I really can. Now, it would be a weird special. Just like S1, he just bites into orange and gets a little faster for a little bit because of the zest and the I don't have scurvy anymore. So, I can see that. Bilgewater would be fun. And he's a character I'd love to hate, to be really honest with his origin. Garen's a most def. There was going to be actual tier lists. There was going to be a rank where it was rumored characters. But again, rumored is such a, like, what is, like, is such a thing of, like, okay, well, this person's rumored because one person saw it. And it's so hard to, like, what is leaked, what is not leaked. Garen has some of the moves that was in, like, a folder, apparently, from what I've heard on it, when they first did the first thing. But again, I can see Garen being in the game. To spin the wind, he has a sword. He's just like how Braum, I said, is the heart of Firelord. Garen is the poster child of Demacia, and he's horribly dumb sometimes. But when you think of Justice, when you think of Demacia, you think of him. You also think of Jarvan, but you mainly think the guy who screams for everything and spins. So I can see Garen being in the game. It might have to retool just a little bit, but it's almost a must-have of the League of Legends of doing Project L. And to be honest, even the Legend of Runeterra, I think he was the first person they put in as a card was Garen. So he seems like he has that, like, okay, you have to put Garen. Like, he's of League. So you got to do it. And he doesn't have the same problem of, like, other champions where he's a marksman. He's not. He's a warrior. He's a warrior. And he also has an alt, like, he has such a final alt as his alt, like, a final smash or a final, like, special or already in his kit that's, like, I can see it. Just, boom! Sword out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, no! It's out of Kale. It's from Kale. Spoilers, I guess. For people who know who Kale is. It's in the Mage Seeker, you should know. I talk about her. Good music, by the way. If anyone has not noticed, this is probably... this is from Sessions of Diana, because it's creator safe collection of Riot game music. So, hope... Especially because I'm talking the whole time, I hope I'm not getting any strikes or anything, because, like, this is my music. Like, it's just that. So, side note, they don't, again, do not pay me for any of this. I just talk. So, Nar's an ancient Yordle, one of the first ancient Yordles that was, like, titled Ancient Yordle, and stayed like that, which was apparently in Fairlord, Blocked by Ice, which I believe was on purpose, but he broke out of it. And Nar is this almost like if you could think of Yordle like the missing link. I think that's even his thing. He is a cave person, but oddly, very oddly, and I know they referenced this, Nar is almost like if you had just a prehistoric version of Stitch. Like that is just a cute, but he's like menacing and like dangerous. And he's like, nah, God, like I love it. Love this character. I don't play top enough to play Nar, but I love Nar. I put him as plausible. They would probably have to re-kit him a little bit just because I don't really see where they would put a rage meter on that hefty UI that they have, which I love the UI. I don't know why some people are like, oh, the UI looks horrible. I'm like, no, you have the 2 health bars. You have your little your burst mechanic, which might need some tooling in my book, because I do agree with some people that it's very scary when you see this game and see there's not a lot of defense mechanisms. So if you get somebody who just knows how to loop you into it, you're just gonna be like, I'm gonna put my controller down as you kill my characters one after another. Thank you for that. So that's very about it. But anyway, then you have your bottom ones where you have your specials, which I think there's only 2 specials, but you can go, your rank can go all the way up to 3 before it maxes. So that's cool. But it just seems like a lot on the thing already, which is needed, but a lot on the UI that a rage meter would just be another thing that you have to, like, this game has to like code into it. So, and especially when you switch to a character, it's gone. No, so it maybe there might be a timer set on him or something of that nature where he would just like fold into it. He might have a transformation part of it, which I would see is, to me, would be hard to think of him like throwing something, punch, does he transforms into Mega Gnar and then does his combo and then comes back to being normal. Like that would seem hard to code into it, unless his Mega Gnar is just going to be locked to his special, which could be. I wouldn't see a problem with that. But who knows? We'll find out how that's going to work if they put Mega Gnar or put Gnar in the game, especially because Gnar is a range, like regular Gnar is a range champion that does have some ways to get close in, but again, it's another issue of like hitboxes and he's small. So how many champions are going to put in that are small? Now hitboxes problem, who knows? Gragas, I'm going to instantly put as anti-tier. I don't like Gragas. I don't care what anyone says. I always hated Gragas from the showing up. Gragas is mostly for Halloween. He's a drunken brawler, as they love to say. I don't agree with that. All he does is throw cases of alcohol, or whether we like to say, if it's going to be a team game, herbs. But like herb drink. People know what I mean with that. So Gragas is a person who just throws barrels and then they will pop off and then explode into like slush or whatever. He's very drunk. He's very nasty to look at. He's a disgusting character. Like his lines are just, oh, I'm this. And he's just drunk and he just throws his fat around. And I don't like him as a champion. I never liked him. League literally had to give me this champion. Because I went out of my way. Like they would give me blues. I have a lot of blues and everything. Essences and stuff like you can get champions in League of Legends, which I hope they do in Project L, because it's very easy. It's cool to get champions without actually have to pay for them. And then, of course, the skins and cosmetics is what you would actually have to put money in, or you get a battle pass or whatever. That's cool. Make your money, and League has been making money off of free to play for a while now with Variant and also with League of Legends. So they know what they're doing. I hope it works well with Project L and not like the other game that had to close after like not even a year. And probably who knows if they ever coming back. Rest in peace. Anyway, who knows. But yeah, Gragas, never liked him. League literally had to force to give me the champion. Like, they were like, oh, you did a champion roulette or whatever. Here, you got Gragas. We just gave it to you. You can't do it. And I would technically pay League to take it away from me. I don't like this champion at all. So that's a personal gripe. That's not even like, oh, would they put him in the game? Who knows? Maybe it might work. I don't want him in the game. I legit, like, there's a part of me that if Gragas is in Project L, I might not play it just because I don't want to look at this person. And I definitely don't want to look at Gragas in full 4D greatness or 3D greatness. I don't want to see that. It's like, ooh. So hopefully not in a game. Very hopefully, please, if you like, please, Project L and Riot Forge and Tom Cannon, don't put him in the game. Don't listen to anyone who says shit. I don't want him. Really don't want him. Yeah, we got Graves. I say most likely not. He's again a marksman. He has a shotgun. Yes, he has these moves that can push him in and push him out. But again, he's just a range champion with a buckshot, and it's gonna be hard to like balance that character. And I can't really see him using the shotgun to hit things or do whatever. So I don't want him in the game. He's very good in League. Even when they took away his cigar, rest in peace, cigar. I understand they don't want to promote tobacco use or whatever, tobacco, but Graves just seems like a person who smokes religiously. Like it's in his character kit. But anyway, I wouldn't see him. It's probably not going to be Project L. Gwen is a very plausible character. Gwen, especially having the scissor blades that she can, like, you have that range, you have the snips, you have that challenging and jumping in and doing that. They would probably, of course, have to re-kit her character a little bit, retool that a little bit, because her ways of working in League don't really work in a fighting, especially with the hollow mist thing. I don't even know how that's going to work. But it would be fun to see her, and also maybe she'll be able to break the scissors and use them individually and put them back. It will be fun. They like use her maybe like, because I know she's not a stand-in or she's not a reference to Kill la Kill. Like I know that, but she reminds me of that, like, because you have the sewing needles, which is that one girl, which because her outfit and like her hair and everything reminds me of the blonde girl from Kill la Kill. Don't remember her name. I hate her. Like, I hate her character. But it reminds me of that, and I like the design. But she's nice, and Gwen is nice and whatever. So I don't like. She can do that, but also because of the scissor blades, I can imagine her breaking them apart and doing that, and maybe giving some life to her character outside of what she is in League. So I would really like to have her in Project L, just because Project L seems like what it can do is put in the real fantasy, the real, like, no holds bar onto a champion that is held back by League of Legends, and how it has to be like, you are this. You can only be this. We are sectioning you in here. And you cannot have more than a certain amount of abilities, so there's only a certain amount of things you can do. But in a fighting game, you can do a lot, and it actually behooves you to have a lot to do. So, I'd put her in there. Plausible. I would put Hecarim as most likely not. Just because of how Hecarim works. Because Hecarim is this character who's supposed to gallop in, charge in, do his attacks. I don't really see him as a jumper, so that would be very weird to see a centaur just leap into the air and see legs moving like that. But it's just too much. Like, his whole thing works off, I got momentum, I have a lot of space to move and charge and do this. And in a fighting game, having just a straight up charging character at people is a lot of way to get hate. So, not going to put him there. Heimerdinger is also in my anti-tier. 100%. Like, I love Heimerdinger is fun and kind of like smart, but also too smart for his own good. And like Arcane was a good way of showing Heimerdinger, but like but in like League, like, it's just like you make your turns, they stay there, they shoot things, you make another turret, that stays there, they make a mega turret, or you make I throw a bomb that stuns and bounces, whatever. which I can see move, but not only is it just the height issue again with all Yordles, but also the fact that like the kit doesn't work to try to make into a character, and I don't think they're going to try to work with that or try to make it better just to bring Heimer into the game. Like I can see him as a tutorial character. Oh, I can definitely, now that I think about it, I can see Heimerdinger talking to us in the beginning like, this is how you do your specials. Come in the lab. Like how he was in Legend of Runeterra, which before he was even a champion, there was the lab and he was represented in it. So I can see that, but I cannot see him being a champion or a fighter in this game. So anti-tier, I don't want to see it because they would have to work too much and take away too many. Alawi's actually in the game. So that's a confirmed character. Very surprised by that. Because again, I think that was the turning point where people realized it doesn't care about popularity. All that matters is does this person fit to the quality, to the quality, to what quantifies a fighter in this game. Can this person be used as a fighting champion and not have to like change this person or whatever? And yes, there's some problem, but if you think about all the confirmed characters, they're not really high on that list yet. So, and Alawi's like 130 or something like that in popularity, which is surprising me. I love Alawi. I like her character. Her character was broken in the beginning of League of Legends. Her character was so, all you had to do was hit somebody with a tentacle, and that thing would have followed them to the ends of the earth if they don't allow you to hit their after image. It would test you all the way to the base. And you couldn't be, because by the time you're about to like be or recall is in the game, the tentacle would sprout out and hit you. So you were like, I can't even recall. It was so broken, especially in bot lane, because you could just hit one person and then that person is gone. It was a good one, but they took that away, or they made it a little bit less crazy. They nerfed it. But Alawi's always been a very cool character. Alawi, a best example of Alawi is technically Marissa from Street Fighter V. It is this like, you have this big, strong woman, browdy woman who can be nice or whatever, but like, it's this woman who's gonna just come in here with those big hits, those things, and her tentacles work in this. But also, the way they were explaining is like her tentacles are not like you're gonna use the tentacles; they just sprout. So it'll be fun to see what they bring or what she really is in Project L. But she's confirmed, so that's there. Oh, Aurelia, the girl with the knives. I say she's plausible. I'm not going to say a most def because there's way too many Ionians already. But I can see her as a plausible, maybe later on in the chapter. She's probably going to be in the game. She probably is. But, yeah, she might need Summer Tooling, of course, she can't heal or there's no lifesteal or anything to my knowledge yet. And I don't think she would want to have temporary health points. It'd be annoying. But she is a fighter through and through. And her swords will be fun to see in game. So, I can see it. It's plausible. Ivern, most likely not. Just because of how he works in like the game. And unless he's going to bring out Daisy to fight for him the whole time. Because Ivern's a jungler who is a jungler. He is a jungler. He is not anything else because of how his like passive works with like not killing somebody or just like sending them off and be like, thank you for your buff, whatever. And that's just what he does. But I can't really see him as this lumbering person who's going to fight, like a legit fight. Especially because in his case he's supposed to be a pacifist of sorts. So, most likely not going to be in the game. I'm not going to put him as anti-tier because I do like Ivern as a character, but most likely he's not going to be in there. Ooh, Janna's an interesting character. I'm not going to put her as most def, but she's plausible. She is very plausible because of the whole thing of that. All you have to do to make her into the game is make her more of a trap character. Like, she can use the wind, have that charge in the background while she's fighting you and hitting you with, like, wind powers or whatever, using the staff itself. and then another wind comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh my god, I have to deal with this stuff. I can't see her ult working because she's not going to heal everybody, but I guess having the pushback would be fun. And maybe some healing to that. Who knows? But that would be interesting to have her like that. I can see that. And maybe, who knows, they might add more Tempest-like stuff to her so she could actually control like the storms itself. I highly doubt they're going to do that. But Jenna is a very plausible as one of the only support enchanters that I can be like, I can see it. Jarvan's an interesting champion. I want to say Paul. I'm not going to say Mos Def. He's a very interesting because his ult's not going to work. Because unless it's something again that would cause somebody not to come into the lane, it's a very stupid ult in Project, like in a fighting concept. Because all he does is goes down, and then brings up a rock formation. And unless that locks somebody out, which is weird because they just appear into stuff, I can't really see that being a thing. You know what? Actually, I take that back. I'm going to say most like, but he does have the whole he can bring out a mantle, push through it, and attack, and he has a spear. So, okay. Plausible, but major retooling would have to happen. Jax is almost step. Jax is just... If you're going to have Fiora, which I would love to see Fiora versus Jax, just because one's the ultimate duelist, and the other one just wait till I have a real weapon kind of thing. And Jax is technically I think he's a sand golem, if I remember correctly. He's part of Icathia, or the ruined city of Icathia, which apparently this is it's a lot of stuff. So the people who are using the void as a way to fight off the whole expanses of the Shirimans was the Icathians, and they used the void to do that, and then realized void screws people over both ways. So they lost the city because of that. And he's one of the only survivors of that whole incident. So it's fun. But now it's part of Ionia, and again, he can jump. I can see the weird part would be, I guess he would just jump, and he wouldn't have to have a ward or something to jump to. He would just have that. So this is a simple thing. I'm not even going to put it as retooling. You can just do it. I want to even also say Jace, even though they need to change this. This is a horrible concept of art of him. I would want to say Jace too is a Mos Def, just because Jace, being of Arcane and being of Pitover and being of the Hextech way, he has a hammer that can also become like a launcher. It's a gun predominantly, so he would have that way of switching between melee and switching long range. Already in his kit, certain things would have to get... You know what? Yes, certain things would have to get retooled. So I'm going to put them as plausible. Certain things will still have to get... Because how is that little strip going to work of him getting speed? Unless he's doing it to himself now and not having this weird line on the ground or whatever. Things would have to change a little bit. But not to the point where it's oh my god. It's plausible. He's very plausible. Now here comes fun one. People are going to hate me on this. Jhin is most likely not going to happen. Jhin is most likely not going to happen. And I know people are but they can retool it, and he could have these traps. But again, he's a marksman, and he has and it's a marksman with a little gun sometimes, but he also can have this big, massive, boom, rifle again. I can't really put the marksmen as... A lot of them are not going to be in the game. And I really put Jhin on that list of just it doesn't work. It just doesn't work in that fighting game aspect, especially because he would have that mass where he's 4 hits and then he has to wait for a charge, and then he's vulnerable in a game where this is so aggressive you don't want to be ever vulnerable. It's weird. I love Jin as a character. He's very unhinged and very like art is beauty while he's murdering people and leaving the blood there and like feast for the eyes in a way. So, but wouldn't work unless they changed him a lot, and I don't want them to. So most likely not. Jinx is already up there. I noticed that Jin and Jinx, but yeah, I did it again. Jinx is already confirmed in the game, and they did make her different a little bit. They had to give her well, who knows if that's still there, but they had to give her a hammer. So Jinx is still in the game. Hopefully, she's confirmed. They gave her a hammer that comes out of nowhere, which makes sense for Jinx because if I ever want to think of a character that seems a lot like Harley Quinn without the whole I had to deal with Joker being my origin, Jinx is crazy. She is not okay. And it comes from a lot of vulnerability and just, not invulnerability, my bad. It comes from a lot of insecurities and vulnerabilities where her whole thing is like, she always felt like the weakest one. She something to prove. She was a little bit very attached to her sister, separation anxiety stuff. Like she was not the best, and in a world where, especially in Pitover, where kids have to grow up real quick and have to be pretty much like mini adults, which is never good for development of a child because kids are supposed to just be kids. But sometimes that can't happen. So her being in her state and all that stuff that happened to her, especially in Arcane, which again really suggests watching Arcane. It's a very amazing show on Netflix about the League lore and really puts it into a perspective. And some of them, of course, is not canon, but it's still amazing. But yeah, Jinx is fun and crazy, and I love it. But in a game like this, Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa's interesting because Kai'Sa's in that situation where Kai'Sa is a legit markswoman too, but she's more like almost like a faster, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna shoot, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna have my rockets that come out on me, I'm gonna boost in and out and have that speed for it, and then even her ult kind of just zooms her into the place. It's like a hunter's mark kind of situation. I don't know, like, it's weird because that's the weird part is, like, her ult works off the fact that, like, she shoots you and then she can zoom in with a thing. So unless that's, like, her assist and then she can, like, ult in from the, like, if that hits, she can ult in from that, and that's, like, her special kind of one, like a different special. It could, I put it as plausible. Like, a lot of people, again, it's going to be plausible. But I put it as that. Callista's another one of those characters. I'm like, oh boy. Callista will be fun because she just throws spears. Can kind of leap back and forth with her things, which they might find their way in her kit. And then there's like just rake that out of people, which hurts a lot. Apparently, it just adds in that pain. So, but it's weird because in a way, you can't really dodge those things. There's nothing like, there's no minions or anything to stop it. So you're just gonna get hit by that a lot, and then she rakes them out, and you're like, oh, what the, like, it's gonna be hard. I guess if you switch, they should go away and not do, like, she can't rake them. So I guess you would have to rake things in a way. Oh, she can't hold. Ooh, that's interesting. If she hit people and then they can't be raked if they're outside of the screen, if somebody switches out, so she could kind of force a way of, or like this mini game of like, is she gonna rake? Is she not gonna rake? Should I switch or not? That I could see happening, plausible. And then her ult is literally just bringing somebody else to hit somebody, and then they would not, I guess, not be there. And if she does it wrong, they can get hit hard because it would be interesting. I wouldn't say not plausible there. So plausible. Karma, I think, to be honest, as an Ionian and everything, I really do think they're going to put Karma in there, and they probably will change her up a little bit. Just because her movement, and then she wouldn't have to be shackled by the fact that she's support, so she can do a lot more damage on her own. And maybe not as much, because again, she should be weaker than most damage dealers. But like, I can see Karma like going in and then having this mechanic of charging certain abilities, or charging her items or balls. Like, ooh, it would be like almost like a Samus where you can charge those things. That's cool. Actually, most def. Karma's in probably. I hope. I remember when I did make my like a list before of the tier list. She was a very hard person for me not to put in there, because I'm like, it can work. It really can. Karthus is most likely. Actually, not. I wouldn't want Karthus in the game. Like, I really wouldn't want him in Project L, because it doesn't, like, the balls things, like, he would be slow. He doesn't really use any really things. His line thing would have to be different. And then he would just have this, like, there's no mana, so you could just literally, like, yeah! Like, it's I don't want it. Karthus is weird. I wouldn't want him in there. So, no Karthus. Anti-tier Karthus. I'm sorry. Karthus is from Shadow Isles, and a character who, in a way, loved death so much as a human that he became death in his afterlife, and he rejoiced into it. He was ready for that. Casting is definitely plausible. I'm not going to say most deaf. Because his ult, oh my god, his ult would be crazy. Just like, because I guess his level 1 ult should be just so, like, it would shorten and go and can use, or level 2, who knows, just speeding through. It would be fun. I would say Casting is plausible. Casting is actually the father of Kaisa, who also got cursed by the void, but unlike Kaisa, who has a voidling on her skin, like, just is part of her skin, Kassadin was just cursed by being in there for too long. So yeah, I'm gonna say plausible on that. Katarina's confirmed. Katarina is again the sister of Cassiopeia, and also is where did I take out Cassiopeia? Where is she? Oh, there she is. She's most likely. I was like, what happened? But yeah, Katarina was only revealed in the beginning of when they were showcasing Project L, and I think they did it in one other video, and she's never been seen again, but I'm pretty sure she's still confirmed as a champion of a fighter. I hope they don't really just release her on August 4th, but, oh, she's a champion, you can't use her, because it's not really a reveal if you showed it to us back in 2019. Which, again, 2019 this was revealed. 2023 now. Oh my god, time flies. And there's things that was started development since 2016. So technically, if you give like some slack because of COVID, and you probably should, it's been almost 5 to 6 years already that's been in development fully, and I don't know when this game's coming out, but it's a fighting game, so the fighting game that they want to not have to do another fighting game in the year's time. So, I understand. But yeah. So, Katarina's already confirmed she's the sister. Cassiopeia, she's Noxing lineage. Her father's a dick. And she's an assassin, like a mage assassin. She's very good. I didn't tier list anymore, but she's fun. Spin to win again. And Garen's star-crossed lover, pretty much. And that would be fun to see them interact with each other, because you know they have to have special ones that are like, oh, we're fighting on the same side. Not now. Like, I can see that happening. I would say Kale is plausible, but I cannot. Her retooling would have to be different. Like, she would have to have a mechanic in her where if she's less health or as her health keeps going, she just goes through her exchanges of, like, getting more and more powerful and more installs in there. Or maybe in a way of, like, also, like how Street Fighter 5 is with that character who can drink herbs and then get through different levels that way. Like, she would have to have something of that nature instead of what Kale is in League of Legends, where it's like, you got to level 11, boom, you got this. You got to 16, boom, you got this. Because she doesn't have that luxury in a fighting game where time is of the essence. Every move counts, you can't even whiff it. So, it's going to be weird. But I still see her as plausible because her moves do work in a fighting game aspect. Especially the advanced ones where you could just shoot from afar. It'd be very annoying. Kane, I say most likely not. Just because the only way Kane works is if you give him that he's going to be a shadow assassin or Rakan from the get-go. Because I don't know who's going to want to go through the aspect of like, okay, well, like the game would have to either put in a way of like, well, okay, you did more physical damage than you did. Well, you can't even do long range damage or anything like that. So it's weird because in the game, Kane being, of course, Kane's an Ionian who was seeking to get power so he could be part of Zed's little army or being part of the Shadows clan or whatever. Zed's on the list. You will see him and I will talk about it again. But Kane found what is a Draken scythe or Darken scythe. I don't know why I say Draken. So Darken scythe, which has Rakan in it. And for some odd reason, Kane is one of the only human beings that is able to resist Rakan, and they have to have a buddy thing until one or the other take over the blade. So if Kane wins over, he becomes a Shadow Assassin. He becomes what he wanted to be in the Assassin Guild for Zed. If Rakan takes over, he becomes Rakan. And becomes this darkened character. But I don't know how that translates in Project L, and I don't know if they're ever going to put it with alt. And also his moves are kind of weird because he would just like shadow. There's no walls to shadow into. So I don't know. Most likely not going to be in the game. As popular as Kane is, because the guy has like he has a lot of skins already. And they can keep making skins for him. It's not hard. So, who knows? But I would say most likely not. Kenny is an interesting character. Because Kenny is a Yordle. So, the height thing. But Kenny does have spells that work off the whole thing of like, you would have to hit somebody a lot of times so they can stun and do all this thing, chain lightning, all that stuff. It would be fun to play as him. And the speed and the movement and the katanas, the kunais, you have the range, you have your up close, stuff like that you could do. And they can easily play with that. I'm not going to say most def. He's very plausible. I can't say most def just because he's a Yordle. And there's only certain Yordles I'm like almost 100% sure they're going to put in. And I'll get to them. So we'll see. Sorry about the burp, by the way. Ooh, we're getting close to the end of this. And there's so many champions left. I did not know how long this was going to take, but... Whew. Okay, so we got Kha'Zix. Oh, yeah, this was the one I was talking about. So Kha'Zix is another Yordle, but actually, I meant Yordle. Voidling, my bad, is a Voidling. This is how you know I've been on this for way too much times and switching words. So, Kha'Zix is a Voidling. He looks like a praying mantis, to be real honest. And that can advance through going through his ult and everything. He gets that speed. He gets like his rockets will hit harder. But unlike Kaisa, who is a range, almost a range version of Kha'Zix, Kha'Zix is a melee champion. and he can talk. He's a Voidling who can speak and everything, and he can do some damage, and even his ult where he could disappear and come back. I can see that working in a way of like, okay, well, he's gonna disappear, stay in front of me, disappear, going behind me. That, like, I can see the methods behind the madness, and see what's going on from there. Like, it can work. It can still work, and how it would do it. I don't know if he's gonna be a most depth. If Rengar's in the game, most, but then they have to do their passive, which is annoying. I'm still gonna say plausible, because there's still some aspects to it that I'm like, okay, this doesn't fully fit into the game, like, isn't with a nice little bow on it, but it's plausible. Oh, Kindred. Kindred, out of all the arrow people, I love Kindred. Because Kindred works very well with the whole, you have, Kindred is a long range, while you also have the wolf part, or wolf and lamb. So lamb is supposed to be, okay, a little information. Apparently there's different versions of death in League of Legends. Kindred being one of the death people, or death gods, or entities of death, which is supposed to be death in Demacia. And how she works is you could either pick the lamb, where you blissfully die to the arrows that die a quick death by accepting death and accepting the fact that you need to fall. This is all part of, like, the circle of life. Or you could pick wolf, which will constantly chase you down, and you will have a very gruesome and horrifying death because you had to try to resist. And it's like, oh, the hunt is on, let's go. So either or, it's like, ooh, one way or another, you're dying. So either you pick the slow, painful one that you had to run and go crazy and then just still gnaws at you, or you can pick the one where you're like, acceptance, arrow. That's Kindred's whole thing. Kindred in, like, Project L, I would like her, but like, her ult, her ult would have to be retooled hard, or not just taken out. She just, it doesn't work, because her whole ult's supposed to be that she would put up a circle where legit she would heal everything, or no, actually no, everything cannot go to zero for a while. Then she will heal everything in that circle, her allies and her more than you, but you still can get healed. And that messes up the momentum of the game if you're just there with your ult. So, plausible, but you have to change that ult. I'm getting close to almost the second part of this. I did not expect this to be a three-parter, but then again, this is over 140 champions, and I'm barely scratching the surface. But Kled, definitely anti-tier. Wouldn't want Kled in the game. I hate facing Kled. I hate facing Kled and Snarl, because technically that is it's a twofer, because he is riding a weird lizard thing. This is a girl, to my knowledge, and Kled is annoying just because in League you have to. He's Noxian, by the way, or runs that Noxian banner pretty hard. But always riding to war. He's ready. He really even has a scar because he don't care. But Kled is one of those characters that you have to kill him twice in the game because of how his kit works. He has Snarl on him, which gives him a lot of health and shielding and stuff like that. But if you kill off the person, you're like, okay, you're now down to zero. Instead of just straight up dying, Snarl will run away. And then it's just it is just Kled. It's just Kled with like a gun and like a little bit of whatever, like a knife or whatever. And he has to like try to fight off you until Snarl comes back, and then he gains all it. So while he's Kled, just straight up Kled by himself, you can kill him, but he's so like, oh, I'm gonna bounce off, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna leave, and he gets some speed to him. And then all he has to do is either hit you a lot of times, and then he'll get it back quicker, or just wait, and Snarl will come back, and then you have to kill them again. Because he gains back a health bar. And it's annoying, and I wouldn't want that in League. In League, sorry. I wouldn't want that in Project L, because it would be so annoying to have to kill somebody twice, or 3 times or more, because it's just hard to keep killing them. So, anti-tier 100%. Wouldn't want him in there. I wouldn't want him to think about retooling him. It would be annoying. Kog'Maw, most likely. Yeah, I can't really see Kog'Maw because he's such a range marksman. He's such a blah, blah, blah. Like, it's another Yordling, but it also looks like a grub. It's very annoying. Just spits acid and throws up and ugh. You know what? Anti-tier on that one. I don't hate Kog'Maw. I just don't want him in Project L. Like, it will be. It's a waste of slot. It's a waste of a slot because it doesn't work. Whew. Wow. LeBlanc. There it is. My brain died for a little bit. Probably a lot. But LeBlanc, plausible, but it's hard with those the mimics, because how does that work in a game where you have to split off and become something else? So they might have to retool that or whatever, if the mimic can like stay in front of you or hurt you or stuff like that. You know what? Not even that. I'm gonna say most likely not, just because of the chaining and then the stuns and stuff like that. Most likely LeBlanc's not gonna be the game. Hide in the shadows, say your whispers in the foreground. I don't really see her fighting. It's not even her kid. It's not even her legend to do so. She was more of a deceiver of sorts that has powers. So no. Last one here for this session. Lee Sin, most definitely gonna put Lee Sin in there. He is, if you think fighting, and especially in Ionia, he is the one character who's just going to fight people. That's what he's gonna do as his whole thing. This is another session, I'm on 5. But that's his whole thing. He's going to fight, like, well, not really fight, but like fight people as like he's a brawler of like, I'm gonna beat you to the Pope. But his whole thing is like being able to get in, get out, go do this, do the kung fu, the martial arts, all that, the dragon fist, all like, that's his thing, and they can really get it right. He won't have as much of his like support things and moving to the wards and stuff like that. But if Jackson can do it, I'm gonna put Lee Sin in there. He's a fighter. He's a freaking fighter. I would be very surprised if he's not in the game of Project L, especially not even in the starting rank, because he's. There's the issue with Ionia. Ionia just has a lot of fighters in the game, and it's going to be very hard for me to just weed any of them out. But anyway, aside from that, I will end this session here. But like, comment, subscribe to the channel as I keep on bringing out episodes. Special episodes you probably tacked on to the other episodes that are coming out, because we have the Final Fantasy Tale Go for this week. But apparently these episodes are now... Wait, no. It's not going to be of this week. These are just going to come before that, supposedly. But anyway, I'll see how that works out. One of them might. It's weird. But anyway, we'll see how that works out there. But for now, like, comment, subscribe. If you like these kind of videos or tier lists and stuff like that, I'll keep doing them. It's not really a bad thing. I'm just putting up a tier and just talking, giving you some of my personality and my rambling and stuff like that. But with that and everything else, BFN, bye for now. Woot. Woot.